Nah. Hello, I'm Eagle. Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram. And this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 711. Hopefully, you guys have had a great day. I sure have myself. And have a great guest for us this evening. We have Peace Rain, Patricia. Hello, how you doing? You want to tell us how you're doing and where they can find you? Instagram, hint, hint. Just kidding.
I might have to check that one out so I can be on their Instagram. I am on Facebook under Patricia Davido, and then on that I have a page for Peace Rain. So right now, and I am on Snapchat. I think that's what it is, maybe, or is it Instagram? I am on Instagram, but I'm still making it the page yet because I think I'm following you on Instagram.
I believe so.
Yes.
So thank you for taking the time to join me. I guess for first and foremost, what are you smoking on this evening?
Just I'm not even sure what it is. Hold on. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Mystery bud. We'll call it mystery bud. I'm not too attached to this one, but
Right, very bad. So we start this off in the beginning. When was the first time that you used or consumed cannabis?
I was 15, I believe. Yep. And it was with my sister, and me and my sister were having a good old time. She was rearranging her room, and I lost my cigarettes. So I knew mom was coming back, and my cigarettes were my mom's. So I was like having a panic attack. And Sabrina's like, no, that might be normal. Because the first time it didn't go well. And I hid myself in my room and I like freaked out. But after that, I loved it. My sister was no help. She was in her room. She had herself barricaded in her room, changing around the dresser. So it was pretty funny. It was cool.
So you were on the side of you did get high the first time I'm taking.
Yes. Yes, maybe a little bit too high the first time I did. That's why I lost everything and I couldn't find nothing. Yeah.
Right.
But that was the journey. But I didn't even know I had ADHD until I was 21 because my friends noticed I had ADHD before I did because I was born in the 70s. They didn't diagnose that unless you were like horrible, like really bad kid, usually, like screaming and yelling. And I was quiet one. I just couldn't focus on anything when I was little stuff. But smoke of pot definitely helped. It'd mellow me out before school and stuff so I could concentrate. So much better. And I'd rather take that than ADHD medicine because that stuff's horrible for you.
I agree with that. So was it something that it sounds like it progressed, quite quickly, or it became a normal thing right off the bat?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. I was like,
Do you remember?
we had fun.
Do you remember what you were smoking? Did it have a name back then?
I know I smoked some skunky stuff. So when you guys were talking about the 96 skunk, I believe it got up there because we were a little bit more north. So yeah, I remember smoking some skunky stuff and we only got it once. So we were really happy we got some. And I'm like, that had to be that stuff. Because every once in a while you get like great stuff back then because, there were seeds. It wasn't like nowadays where kids are so lucky. My mom had so many pot plants growing in her yard because we just throw them out the screen out the window. They were all there. Mom's like, are those pot plants? And we're like, what? We don't see anything.
Awesome. That's super awesome. And that kind of, I was going to ask, Because I'm kind of starting to develop a little bit of theory as far as the I got high, I didn't get high on the first time. And I think I'm starting to believe there's a barrier to the CB1, CB2 receptors. And I believe that
Oh,
the people that necessarily are on the line of I didn't get high the first time, I'm starting to think that they were a little more isolated from
oh,
cannabis. And I think those of me, and it sounds like you as well, were at least around cannabis at an earlier age to where maybe secondhand smoke or something like that already kind of had wore our barrier down. So then when we actually ingested for the first time, we actually got high.
oh,
So
nice.
what do you think about that?
That sounds good. About right. I remember one time when me and my sister, she was 6 and I was 7, and we went over to our aunt's house. Well, she's our great aunt. So our cousins were like older than us. And I'm looking at me and Serena checking out this tree. It wasn't a tree, it was a pot plant. We're all sniffing it. We're like, Mom, you need to get one of these trees. We're all, we literally investigated that whole tree and we were trying to get Mom to get a tree. She told us it was a tree. So we're like, okay, well, we want one of these plants. And she didn't. She goes, I should have known you guys were going to be potheads. Because we were always fascinated with it. I just liked it. Even dare class, I knew that wasn't, they weren't telling me something correct. I already knew when I saw it. I'm like, no, there's something wrong with that. It's a plant. It didn't sit right with me. But I've been one to fight the system, so, or try to. So I was always a rebellious. I guess the black sheep of the family. Oh, I can't hear you.
There we go. The mic gets a little sticky button sometimes. I don't know. It might be the cannabis. I think that's
Right.
awesome that the your parents actually both consumed and kind of cultivated early on too. I wish we all would have
Well,
known growing up that those
I
seeds
think
were going to become valuable.
I know my mom did, but I don't know if my dad did. But I know he had some in his lunchbox one time because I remember digging through for candy when I was little, and I'm like, "What kind of candy is this?" So I was checking it out, and Mom goes, "Get out of his lunchbox." And I'm like, "Why? I'm always in his lunchbox looking for candy."
Sorry.
That's but so I think he did too. He just never admitted to, you know, it was down low. But they didn't like me doing it for a long time, but they do. They don't mind now because they like my lotions. So I was like, I won them over. I'm like, see, whoever thought being a pothead would have came to making something new, and or not new, but coming up with some healing thing. Well, I always knew it was healing, so I just took it a step further. So, and if you can wear it and it's healthy for you, you might as well wear it. That's my theory.
So it sounded like that you kind of realized the medicinal side of cannabis somewhat early on. Or has did it take later?
No, I knew because it made me feel more centered. Like I still have a hard time sometimes focusing. That's where the vetiver comes in, which is pretty cool. That's a essential oil pack. Um, it does make a big difference, and it makes me not so stressed, like nervous to be in public with a bunch of people. It makes it a lot easier because I just never did well with crowds when I was little. So just I don't know. And I've been doing research about it anyways because I lost some people to my my best friend died of breast cancer, and I lost a few family members, a lot of family members to it, and I know it does it has healing and it shrinks it. So if you can shrink it, why not consume it, wear it, and get it in your system as much as possible so it can get to where it needs to go. That's sort of how he came up with the pit balm, because it goes through your lymphatic and it spreads through your body, so it'll go through your whole body. And hopefully, when I made it, I envisioned it going through and cleaning up any bad bits that are in there, So, and it spreads it through your whole body, so it should help with every part of it, I believe. Now, that lady from yesterday, that she would be awesome about the research, because she knows how to get to the research and stuff stage. So, but I know it's working because I've been detoxing my pits, and then I use that ionizer for the feet, and I'll check where it is on there, and it's been going through my body, so I'm pretty excited. Cleaning out stuff. It's amazing. I just shock myself sometimes with some of the stuff I come up with, so happily shock myself.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. So I guess when did you decide to start using the topicals as a part of the medicine?
Well, I met a lady who made some, and I really liked her stuff. Well, I've lost her phone number, and I couldn't figure out where she was. Well, I knew sort of where she lived, but I couldn't remember how to get back there because smoked fish pot probably. But and then I was getting some from another customer when I worked at Admiral, and I was like, "Well, where do you get your plants?" And he said Flint, and I was like, "Oh, nope, nope." It just that scared me because of the water thing, and how do you actually know if someone's using the right water or not? So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I should find someone close to home that grows it and then, does it. And that way it'd be more, I at least know how it's being grown and how it's being watered and everything. So then I figured out, and then I had to figure out how to infuse it together. So that took me a minute. So everything took a little bit of time, but then I was always into the essential oils part of it too. I was always looking them up and trying to do. So I took a few classes, and here I am. Ta-da. Putting stuff together and coming up with stuff. So lip balm. I think I'm calling it my stoner beauty package. Who says beauty can't be stoners or something? Stoner beauty line. Because I like it. And it's medicinal too. Like most people just look for the buzz, but it's more than that because it helps your body relax, and it's just so much better for your body than putting on even normal chapstick, because normal chapstick isn't even good for most of it. It's the stuff they put in products it's scary, and it causes so many side effects that people don't even know about. That so I like raw's better. I use raw products and I just love it. I don't put no chemicals in because I don't put the water in. You don't gotta water down Mother Nature. Mother Nature is already watered when she's growing, so I just figured we'll just do it full throttle. But it seems to be helping, so.
So how would you say cannabis has helped your ADHD?
Oh, it helps immensely. It makes me not so agitated, and it makes me more mellow instead of like, ta-da, here's Trish. I can still do ta-da to your Trish, but it's more mellower. I mean, I'm still perky, but unless I'm not perky, and then everyone's all expecting me to be perky, and they're all like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm having a bad day. I'm human. Mainly because of my puppy, but he's a puppy. He'll grow out of the stages, hopefully.
So are there certain strains that you find work better than others?
Blueberry works really good because blueberry can go upper or downer, so it sort of like migrates in between. And blackberry. Now, blackberry, you don't want to smoke that on your own because you will get couch lock. But if you mix the blackberry with a little bit of blackberry with a more blueberry and roll it up, it's like perfect. And it puts you in a good mood and doesn't give you couch locks. And the blueberry cuts the munchies. Yeah, it was the first strain I've ever found that I can smoke it and not want to eat the whole house. So it was so nice. But I've only found that one like twice. So it's very hard. And the person I was getting the blueberry strain from, the strain I liked, his mother plant passed away. So I was really sad. Very, very sad because I really like that one. But I've tried new ones and I like them. Oh, Acapulco Gold. I tried that once. I got to try it once and they weren't shitting when they put that on Cheech and Chong. I was like, I gotta try this. I'm like, wait, that was off Cheech and Chong, right? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'll take some of that. It was when I had my card. It was so cool. I come out, I'm like, we gotta smoke this. And it took me 45 minutes to find my laundromat in Traverse. And I hadn't been there in years, but I'm like, they moved it. And I'm like, it's not here. And he's like, what? I'm like, my laundromat's not here. You're gonna have to go in someplace and ask. And it was I made him go, my ex-husband go in, but we were married at the time, and he had to come in 3 different times to go back in there to get directions to the other laundromat because he kept forgetting by the time he got out to the car. And we ate like massive amount of like burritos. We had carne asada burritos, big huge one. Plus I had 2 horchattas, and we were still like ripped by the time we got to the laundromat. I was like, holy crap. They weren't kidding when they said it was a little strong, but it was cool. That was fun. Can't believe I couldn't even get that strain while I was in California, but they have good weed out there too. Their fucking brownies are the shit. I had them a few times. My brother-in-law sent me some, so those are good.
Do you enjoy edibles? Do you make edibles?
I do cookies and I do breakfast. Like I can make a pretty good stoner breakfast. And then I got like 10 people stoned off my breakfast. And everyone's like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, I'm not telling you. Like, you'll have to come over and have breakfast again. It was so much fun. And I just like watching people be happy. And I enjoy that just as much as getting high. You know what I mean? Myself, it's just watching people relax and have a good time. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I myself have almost went face down and a plate of pancakes myself. With I had used I made some like super strong butter and then some nice
Oh,
pancakes, and then between each pancake, of course, I just lathered some butter in between. So I had a nice stack, all just drenched in can of butters, sopped in syrup. I think in between my borderline diabetes and all the cannabis, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was,
that's good. Well, a few times I made some gummies and like, you wake up and you have food in your hands and you don't know how you get it there and you're just like have food all over your shirt. You're like, okay, I must have been hungry. Like wake up zombie eating, I call it.
zombie.
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I prefer wearing it sometimes because sometimes when I wear it, you don't get the munchies from that. So that sort of helps. And I put the RSO in it because I don't want people. I love the smell of it. Don't get me wrong. I love the smell of weed, but some reason bosses don't like that smell. So then I call it undercover stoner. Or you can't always smoke a joint, so lip balm or something, help it going. But I tell you what, it makes a difference on my back, like my lotion when I have to work like 8 hours and it's, cement and concrete, and it does help pad that a little bit.
Concrete does make for a long day, that's for sure.
Yes, I'm grateful for my breaks. Very grateful.
I enjoy the edibles, but there's just something about the smoke that I like. I don't know what it is. I
I
don't
do.
know if it's the control or I think that's more or less it. When you eat an edible, it's like, is it kicking in my high? Then you gotta like leave your comfort zone and you're like, oh fuck yeah, I'm definitely high. I'm definitely high.
Yeah. Oh, I've done some. That one time I ate a brownie, 3/4 of a brownie, and I was high and I was getting, but I shared the like quarter of it, but I was coming down. So I'm like, oh, I can eat a little piece of this cookie. It won't taste as good. And, I'm thinking it's not going to taste, no, that cookie was delicious. So I ended up eating 3/4 of the cookie along with the quarter of the brownie. And I was laying there on the bed and the bird spit it. I'm like, oh, that's what everyone's talking about. The spins. I never had it before. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm just going with it. And I was like, we didn't get sick or nothing. I was very happy. It wasn't like when you get the spins when you're drinking, at least. Ugh. I'm grateful for those days to be gone. I don't drink like that no more. I let drinking go a long time ago.
At least found for me a good thing.
Yes, I can still function in it. Well, most of the time. Sometimes get giggly, but.
So is it just smoking that's good for getting back to the ADHD, or would you say edibles is better for kind of aiding that?
Edibles help. I don't know. I've never really thought of it that way. I just, well, until, the last few years, I started eating more edibles. But before that, we really didn't eat edibles because weed was sort of, when we were growing up, it's not like we had edibles very often. No one wanted to, cook their stuff. We wanted to smoke it. You know what I mean? It's like, we were teenagers like back then, we're lucky we even got any sometimes, But my friends are like, you always find somebody. And I'm like, that's because we're awesome. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we just got that stoner vibe. I don't know. Maybe we always had it. I don't know. It was just different back then. I don't know. Kids today are spoiled. I don't know. I don't think I would have liked smoking some of this really good stuff my first time. It probably would have scared me a little bit. It probably would have, because it's a lot stronger than now. I don't know. It's just different kinds of buzzes. Before you never knew what you were going to get. Now you sort of do. So it's not as shocking, I guess.
It's funny you say that we weren't gonna waste it, and back then we wanted to smoke this shit. How fucking true that is! So true. I
Yeah, but we
remember
didn't
hearing
know.
about brownies
But we
and
didn't
shit. Same
know
thing.
it was wasting it. Actually, it's just as good doing it that way. We just didn't know.
True.
We're like, what? And who liked to cook when you're a teenager? Not me. So that was probably out. And I never really, actually, brownies and stuff is pretty much the only thing I could bake very well. I make them better than I do cakes. So as long as I got cannabis in it, I'm pretty right on top of it. I don't want to ruin it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I ruined one batch. I was so mad at myself. I started crying and he goes, why are you crying? I'm like, I ruined our so. And he's like, Trisha, grab more. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to waste it. I just take it seriously, I guess, a little bit too much. Well, because I use it in my products too, so I don't like wasting it. I like to make my products and help people. I enjoy watching them go from hurting and then they put it on, or I'll have someone sample it, and then I see them walk up, walk straight across the thing like they don't hurt. It just makes my heart feel full. And I don't know a lot of people that mix a lot. A lot of people are scared to mix a lot of oils, but depending on what you're trying to help with, you know what I mean? You need that. And who would not want good side effects? I love the fact that everything has good side effects with my stuff. Because if I put rosemary in it with the THC, the rosemary just doesn't do what I want it to do. It's got other good health benefits that it uses. So I call them healthy benefits instead of side effects, because mine are so much better for you than, I don't know. I quit going to the doctor. I did. I won't. They had me on medicine for my thyroid, but then I found out that I could fix it myself and get it under control, so it's not so bad. I'm like, well, I'll do it myself, and I know what's going in me. I just like that better. I don't like putting stuff in me that I don't know what it is somewhere. I'm trying to be responsible about what goes in my body. And it's a pretty awesome feeling. Because before I'd always look to someone else to help it, and now I just look it up and try and do it myself. And so far I'm doing pretty awesome. I make my own version of my own chest rub, and it smells good, not like nasty chemicals or even menthol. I just my mom smoked menthol, so that's probably why I don't like the smell of menthol. But I don't even make it smell mentholy. I make it smell yummy. It smells good. It smells like flowers. I just love the way you can make stuff smell good. It's like fun chemistry. That's what it is. If they would have taught me this in school, I would have enjoyed it so much better. I would have probably, I would have paid much more attention. It would have drew me in instead of pushed me away with boringness, like history class.
I think they pair well, at least from my experience with it. I have a friend that makes like this like roller ball, which is I
Oh,
don't know what's
nice.
in it. It's I know it's some type of tincture. I think it's an alcohol tincture, and I believe he adds some essential oils. I think I know for a fact there's some peppermint in here, but you know, whatever's in here is gold. You know what I mean? Rub it on the
Yes.
temples, whatever. And so what I guess long story short is what I'm saying is I essential oils most certainly do, you know what I mean, have a place in a lot of these creams and stuff. You know, it's proven, you know, if anything, the aromatic the therapy and just the smells alone
Yes.
are, you know, have value. So and then again, like you're saying, they much healing properties as well. So it's so some of what are some of the others that you kind of mix and you know mix and match a little bit with.
Well, I've been doing a lot of study with kratom because kratom helps with people with addictions for the uppers and the lowers. So not only does it, I knew about it working with the like heroin, getting people off heroin, but it also helps with methamphetamine. So it's a win-win in my book, and it's a herb. But so instead of ingesting it, I put it in the pit balm too. So and it's also anti-inflammatory too. So that's like majorly important. So we're anti-inflammatory on the inside. Plus, I'm getting that in their system so they don't Jones for the heavy. And it helps fight. It's got a lot of antioxidants in that too. So it'll be good for helping with cleaning out your system too that way. So I'm pretty excited. I'm still looking for stuff to help people with drinking. Drinking's a little bit more tough. Sounds like you'd think it would be easier, but no, none of it is. So I'm just trying to help do my part. And even if they wanted to get off so many pills, you know what I mean, from the doctor, this would help them ease off that too. And
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I cut you off. You're the guest. You go first, please.
No, you go first because I forgot what I was going to say.
Now I feel worse.
No, it's okay.
No, am very much there with you. I've talked about for years. I talked about it today, as a matter of fact, to non-cannabis enthusiasts who may or may not have taken some heat. I think they did, but I believe cannabis can be 100% utilized as a rehabilitation tool, especially for pharmaceutical drugs, but in so many other ways. You know, I've seen on it help people coming off harder drugs through just RSO supplements alone. And then I think it's a whole combination to the whole thing. I believe, though, I believe that you can wean a person off with some type of cannabis, maybe in your case or whatever, essential oils, RSO,
Yes.
whatever may have you, and then on the other side, maybe teach them to live life with or without cannabis, up to them. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
cannabis with is definitely not a bad thing. But moreover, to learn how to cultivate the plant or just cultivation
Yes.
in general, I think is super healing and just it's healing for the soul. It is,
Yes.
man. So just as they, struggle through the other half of, you know, once they come off, but just the dealing part of it, have that cannabis help be that crutch that take your mind off of,
Yes.
relapse or
The pain.
whatever. So, yeah,
Oh man, it hurts so bad when people come off of that, and people don't understand your body like aches. And if you got anything wrong with your body, because 9 times out of 10, the people on there have something wrong with them and they were on pills and then they transitioned to the other because they just cut them off. So I've heard that a lot. And I meet such fascinating, I love hearing people's stories. So this is cool. I get to talk to people while I'm helping them. And then it still helps me come up with different ideas to make it better. So I'm like pretty good at that.
so I guess uh when did you didn't necessarily decide to, I mean, as we talked about, I'm sure earlier on, you noticed the difference just consuming cannabis, but what made you, was it just the legality that made you try, topicals and stuff like that as an alternative medicine?
Well, when I had my medical card, when it first became that you could get help because I have a shrinking disc in my back. So I got my medical card before it was recreational legal. And then I had that for 3 years and I felt so bad. I was so mad at myself for letting it relapse, but I couldn't afford it that year. And I was like, oh, but I got to try all different kinds of things. And it opened up and brought me into more people that made those things because a lot of people just smoked it that I hung out with. So, or they make brownies, but no one would share. So, like, I like sharing. I like enjoying everyone else getting high too. That's just me, but it's so fun doing it by yourself.
I can't tell, chat. Please help me out here. I can't tell if, at least on my end, I can't. The sound, your mic seems funny, but how is it on your guys' end? Is it okay? Because I will tough it out if it's good on your end, or try to fix mine. I can fix mine, but please help me. I can't tell. You know what I mean? Outside of what I can hear, I can't tell if it's good or bad, or they're like 30 seconds behind. But it was weird. It kind of on my end sounded like computerish. It was weird.
Yeah, it like faded in and then it faded back out, and I could hear you, and I'm like, huh? I'm like, all right, I'm waiting.
They say it sounds good for them, so we'll just keep rolling.
Okay.
I'll try like a different headphone. Yeah, good, good. You guys are the ones that matter. As long as you guys can hear it, I can deal with it.
I've just been, I don't know, I love making stuff and I'm learning so much about healing, the natural healing part of it, and it's just awesome. And I can't wait to help people that are, this would, I think mine would help people in the inner cities too. It wouldn't just be here, and it's here too. I was very disappointed when I came back from California and the heavy was here too. I was just like, man, I came home to get away from that. You know what I mean? And it was here. I was like, oh, but it'll get better. It will. It will.
It does.
Because now they're going after the heavier, not us. You know what I mean? It's making it easier. They laid off a lot. So, because we're not, I think they finally realized we're not hurting nobody. We're just being happy and being ourselves and trying to do our own thing. And we're not trying to like hurt people and stuff. We don't get upset like the people who, I've seen people at bars get like way too upset too easy, you know? And at parties just from having a certain drink. And it's like, why would you want to do that to yourself? It took me a while to realize, why do I want to do this to myself too? But I just rather be mellow and happy. I don't like being feisty no more. It's nice being mellow and happy. I'm enjoying the peace rain.
So do you grow? Do you grow your own stuff? How long?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I plan on it. And when I get my own little space, I don't feel comfortable growing here because chemicals in the lawn. So I want it natural when I do be able to grow. And I like the idea of doing it outside. So I was fascinated yesterday. I watched the whole thing. She was cool, Sandra. Sandra was awesome. She caught my attention, and that's why I put on the thing. And I'm like, man, she's cool. I never got to meet cool people like her while I was out in California. I did meet cool people. Let me reframe that. They weren't just into the green. It was everyone always was dabbling with something else. And I was around a lot of different stuff. And I'm very grateful to make it at home. Let's put it that way. If it wasn't for my friends out there, I wouldn't have made it home. I already know that. They protected me because I was a whole new world out there. Like when I hear people go to California, I'm like excited for them. At the same time, I'm like, no. Like you might want to make sure you have a chunk of money and make sure it's safe. Don't just keep it in their pocket and don't trust nobody. Like, nobody. It's definitely different out there. But I was in the inner city, so.
So what time span are we talking? Yeah. What year?
Oh, let's see. William is 20. He was one when he went out there. I was there only 2.5 years, I think. I got married and then I told him if the fire started happening and we were right in the middle of, we were like boxed in, where are we gonna go? Jump in the ocean? I'm not jumping in the ocean with sharks. I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I'm like, I'm gonna go home, and if you want to follow, you can follow me. Come home after you get off probation. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm like, I can't do it no more. I came home to visit, and I got homesick. But when I left, I was fighting with everyone in the family, so it didn't hurt so bad when I left. You know what I mean? But when I came to visit, I was getting along. They all missed me too, and I'm like, you know what? I can't stay away from my family either because I love them. So this was around 21 years ago. Whoa. Was it that long ago? I guess I'm sort of a time shock there. Sorry. The kids are all grown pretty much. So yeah, that's about right. It just don't seem like it's been that much time,
It's fast. Especially, it goes super fast.
This year's went really fast. The summer did.
What was the Canada scene like when you were out there?
Oh, California, most people weren't smoking. They were doing heavier stuff. So depending on what crowd you were with, it's very cliquey. It's not really cliquey, but people have different vibes. So I went from group to group, figuring out what vibe I wanted, and I didn't fit in with nobody out there. Nobody. So when I did find weed, I was like super happy because that's how I kept myself from going overboard. I'm a stoner. That's what I tell myself. That's how I kept myself grounded. Even when I was doing other stuff, I'm like, you're just a stoner. You're just a stoner. You know what I mean? And yeah, it wasn't easy getting off that. And I was not in the best situation. So very proud of myself. I did that with no rehab, got clean off the heavy. And I relapsed a few times, but when I did get clean, I'm done. I'm like, and it's like, this helps. And I know it helps because sometimes I get, you always get urges every once in a while. But with the vetiver and everything and the other oils and my lotion, it don't make my back hurt so bad. So I'm not craving it for the pain, and that helps. And with the detoxifying pit balm, my insides are not, it's inflamed. So it takes the pressure off my back too on the inside and on the outside. So I'm trying to double whammy it because if I don't feel no back pain, I'm unstoppable. So I'm like, it won't be, that makes it a lot easier to get out of bed and do stuff. So go to work.
For sure. That's what I think a lot of people don't realize with the pharmaceutical drugs, they
cause more damage.
Yeah, they cause more pain and make you make people think they have to go deeper or maybe extra on their meds
Yeah.
just because of the added pain, and it's a nasty cycle. You know,
Yes.
cannabis definitely can break that for sure.
Yes. And then they put them on probation, right? So they don't even want them smoking the cannabis, which makes it even worse for people. It's like, no, you cannot do that to somebody that's, it's just backwards. It's very backwards. It's getting better, but it's like the way they treated cannabis was like horrifying because it's nothing like what they said. There's no way it's a type 2 drug. I've done, or the heavier stuff. It's nothing like it. In fact, sometimes the one time I did something heavy and my ears popped, and my friend, it took him a half an hour to get me to smoke a joint. I'm like, no, I'm never touching anything again. I was like, I'm done. I'm like, this is messed up. All I heard was wah, wah, wah. It was horrible. It was like, and he had me smoke and I could hear again. And it balanced out my equilibrium where my body like balanced itself out. So I know it works from experience, you know? So, but I enjoy this much better than that. I always enjoyed smoking. I don't even think of this. It's not a drug. It's always been medicine because it helps you. It doesn't hurt you. And and how can something that hurts you be medicine? That's always been my thought on that. Maybe it's ADHD that makes me think backwards, but sometimes it's very helpful. Or I got to quit labeling it. Everyone's into labeling, and you shouldn't label your problems because they're not really problems. They're just gifts in a different light. You just got to see them in a different light.
So, how are you enjoying some of Michigan's events? What do you think of Michigan's candy communities?
I think it's cool. I've never really got to go to any ones you went to. The ones you go to are like awesome, but mine are like Freebird. It's cool and like they're canna friendly, so that's nice and it's family friendly too, and it's such a great environment. Like I like the concerts up here versus downstate. I like them a lot better because the people are more relaxed. You don't have to worry about when you get outside of the concert. The concert's pretty controlled, but outside the environment of the concert is not always so controlled, you know? So, and the people are cooler up here. I don't want to go up north, but I like being in the middle. Like I've lived up north, I'm over it. This, like up, like not too, I'm over a lot of snow. I can't do the snow, too much snow no more. I don't want to go to Florida or anything. I've been to Florida a few times. I wasn't, I just didn't vibrate with me. So
So, where do you see your cannabis explorations going? Where do you see them taking you?
hopefully, I know it's on a healing journey. So I guess we'll have to see and find out. Well, we don't know yet. This is so experimental. It's, it's so, I don't know. It's just freeing. I feel like we're free to try and experiment with stuff and make it better. And, you know, but I really like the idea of being responsible, like people responsible growing and stuff and reusing stuff because we have so much waste in this world. She's right. We need to quit putting so much chemicals and stuff because it's just hurting us down the line. So maybe chemicals just need to go altogether. I'm not sure, but that's just, if we could do it naturally, why would we want to put chemicals on something to make it worse? It's had that really, I've been thinking about that all day, her conversation last night, and it made sense to me. Like, I would just probably would have enjoyed being in that area much better than Sandy, like where it was. I was right by the border. So it was interesting. But the weed I smoked was awesome. It was pretty good when I did get to smoke. And it depends on where you go because people didn't want to use baggies because then you get a individual drug charge. But if you are giving people handfuls, like downtown, you don't get the whole charge, you just get a using charge. I guess it was weird. I didn't quite get that. So I just stayed away from that as much as possible. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, I'll partake, but I'm like, I'm doing my own thing. I don't know.
So, what are some of your favorite cannabises today? Are there some strains that hit you better than
Wedding
others these days?
wedding cake is a good one. And then I liked, what was that? Is it banana that smells like dirty diapers? Banana OG that smells like the dirty diapers? I don't know, but it's stinky, but it does the trick. Sometimes when you can't calm down, you just need good indica and slow you down. But sometimes I like Stevas because it keeps me awake, and then sometimes it'll make me focus. I have to figure out which mood my brain's in. I use it more for the ADHD, I guess. I didn't realize I was using it so much for the ADHD until tonight. I just started like smoking all the time. Well, that's what I thought when I was a teenager, anyways. I'm like, are we smoking yet? It's time to smoke. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to drink. We're not smoking. And I realized even back then, I was much funner if there was smoking involved with the drinking, because if not, I get mean. I don't know. It may have been the tequila, though. It may have been the tequila.
Yeah, we'll do it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I'm surprised I still have a stomach lining. The tequila drink, but I'm healing it now. I just know I'm a lot healthier than I was even 2 years ago. So I use that time off for the COVID thing to study and amp up and figure out what I wanted to do. I'm like, all right, this is my time. And I took a few classes and boom, here I am. And I guess everyone likes my stuff. So I'm getting people love it. So that makes me happy and keeps me going. So it'll go. I know it's going to go. Because no one does, I haven't heard anyone, people always talk about stuff, but they never do it. And they're like, oh man, you're the one who did it. I'm like, yeah, I'm the one who made it. That makes me happy too. I don't know. I just come up with these weird ideas. I'm like, well, if you can make it this way, why not put THC in it? Like the mascara I'm working on is not going to have no chemicals in it. It's going to help your eyelashes grow, because isn't that the whole point of putting on the mascara? To make your eyelashes grow. I'm just, why not? If you could fix the problem while you're doing it, you might as well try, right? It can't hurt to try. What if? It all started with the question.
So how many different products are you kind of messing around with?
I've got at least a good 15, maybe 20. Plus when I gotta put in my little time frame, I gotta make some more laundry soap too. I make my own laundry soap. I literally started reading ingredients and getting grossed out. I was really disgusted. So I started making my own stuff. And I didn't even realize I was just thinking of, at first I was just thinking of doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Being self-conscious and, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, well, I guess I am sort of into healing. You know what I mean? It took someone else telling me, she's like, you're just focused on helping yourself and helping people. I'm like, well, I know it works because I feel better. So if I know it feels better, why not help someone else feel better so they're in a better mood, and then then everyone's all like, oh, everyone's all happier. And it does help. I like making people feel better so they're not so cranky, because who wants to be around a bunch of cranky people? It's not that fun. And in pain. I don't like seeing people in pain. It's always bothered me. And I always knew cannabis was good for you and would help with it, but I didn't know about the other stuff as much until I started meeting the right people. Sometimes you just gotta wait, and then the universe brings you to the right people, and then you learn, you know what I mean? It clicks off the right light bulb in your brain. So I don't know. It's just sometimes you just come up with, I'm just really excited about this. I met a whole bunch of awesome people and that are all trying to heal people and help people. And I just want to continue to help people and see people happy. I can't make everybody happy, but the ones who really dig my stuff, they dig my stuff. So
I have
I
to agree 100%. Even after coming off this weekend, I often wonder, what is what, like the secret ingredient of what makes these events so memorable, so fun, and stuff like that. And I think that's
I
just
think
it,
it's
is seeing the passionate, people so passionate about what they're doing and presenting. I think that's it.
yes. And love. People put love into their products. And that's what I think it's the love we put in. Like you put the love into your plants when you're growing up. And put the love into everyone's plants or who's, you know what I mean? The plants you get, as long as they're made with love and your intention is good and you have a good heart, that's when we do the best work, and everyone gets, it's just when it flows the best. So I don't know. I feel so much better. I can't even explain at the beginning how much this has helped me just this last few years. It's made 100% difference, and I don't even know where to begin, where it start, but I know it all started when I started definitely putting the stuff together myself. And then I put my love into that, plus the love they put into growing the stuff. It's just a big community of love. I try not to go to industries and get my stuff. If I could go to someone who's doing it, and if I think they're doing it better than the industry is, because a lot of times the industry misses the small steps and the people aren't happy to be working there. They're just there for a paycheck. So they're not really loving what they're doing. They're like, you know, we got to get back to loving what we're doing. And it would take a lot of this disease, I think, away because we won't be so stressed.
Well said. Well said. That seems to be the common factor. I hear more and more people say, especially when it comes to the disco weed, it looks good, tastes good, doesn't get me high. And it's because exactly what you just said. There's no love there. You know what I mean? It's either being fully
Right.
automated or, people are just, it's another job being treated well. You know what
No, no, you got to play. I'm like, what kind of music do you play for your plants? Like, I ask weird questions. And I'm like, no, you don't play country music. You don't want your plants sad. like, you know what I mean? I'm like, maybe some, it depends on the plant too. They probably got variations in what they like, you know, but I listen to all sorts of music. I try not to limit myself to one because if you get into one, then you're just into that vibe. You gotta melt out. Except for country. I never got into country. It just, it was too depressing for me, I guess. Some of it's okay, but more of a, some dance music's okay. I'm getting into rap a little bit, but I'm more into the rock and I don't know.
we gotta get you listening to Submendo Dope. Are your friends, the
Yes,
Weed
they
Nerds,
did
Submendo
sound
Dope?
awesome. I was listening, I was watching it, and then my phone died. I always have a hard time
Ah,
charging my phone at night. I'm like, I listen to meditation sometimes before I go to bed, but I try. Puts me in the helps too. So I was trying to astroplane yesterday, but the puppy, like, I was almost there, and the puppy leans over and puts his paw on my leg. I'm like, "Are you serious, dude? You just distracted me." I'm like, but I think he did. He was like shaking and stuff. I'm like, "You're okay. Just go with it." I'm like, that's what you get for touching mom while she's trying to do some stuff. Relax. And I'm trying to like, I don't know. I just feel better when I'm in a better place, and weed puts me there. It even when I was in a really bad place, a joint will put me back in a better place because it'll make my day better. If anything, at least that'll make me, yeah, the day better. Yeah, because I tried quitting when I got clean off the heavy for 6 months. I didn't do none, and he's like, no, he he. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get busted or for using or anything. So I just quit because he quit, and he walked right over to his friend, knocked on his friend's door, and goes, "If you got anything to smoke," he goes, "Please, for the love of Jesus, smoke it with her because she's mean." And then I started being nicer. He goes, "Is that all it was?" I'm like, "Well, did you not listen to the story I told you about when I quit smoking pot for like 6 months and my parents couldn't figure out why I was so mean and no one wanted to wake me up for work because I was working 2 jobs? It was, yeah, I was like, they're like, they called me the grumpy bear. No one wanted to wake me up. And then sometimes I'd wake up and have nightmares from school. Yeah, I was going to school too. It was, had to do what I had to do. Like, that no one wanted to wake me up. No one likes being around me when I was sober. So, and I don't even consider this, it's just me. So I'm not used to like not having, I like being relaxed. I don't like being cranky. Let's put it that way. It's better to have happy Trish and cranky
I'm gonna take your word for that. So
Trish.
as cannabis is much like the essential oils, excuse me, as
Yes.
far as the aromas and terp profiles, what are some of your favorite terp profiles? I mean, if you could have, do you like the, say, pines, fruits, gas? What 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 suits you
I
best?
like them all. Well, so far I like them all. No, I'm joking. But I like the fruity ones, but I also like the piney ones. Like I don't really have a preference. I like to try everything. And then when I see something new, I'm like, oh, there's something new. And then I try that. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, that was okay. But it's so I noticed some of the new ones do not have the same kick as the old school ones. Like I only found that one they need to bring back Acapulco Gold. Where do we have to go to get this? Would we have to go to Hawaii? I don't know where it came from. So that would be, we need to research that because that was a really good one. They weren't joking. Like, I don't know, Cheech and Chong was a big influence. We watched, me and my sister, well, I went to the adult ed first. I was the youngest one in the adult ed to come to the adult ed because I refused to go back to the high school. When I was 15, I'm like, I'm not going back there. My friends aren't here. I'm having a horrible time. I'm like, the kids, I'm like, I couldn't get along with all the kids. Teachers were fine. I was doing fine pretty much in school, but the kids were like, get on my nerves. I'm like, I'm out of here. And without me being there, my sister followed. And one of my friends, he brought in his Cheech and Chong collection, but we watched the whole thing while we were in school that one day. And we come back in and me and Spirit were like changed. We already smoking pot, but we were like changed a little bit more than that. We're like, oh, so this is what they're all talking about. You know what I mean? So it's just all schooling. I was like, my favorite one was the one with the up in smoke. That was my favorite because I liked that van. I always wanted that van. And I'm like, we were at a yard sale, me and my dad and my son and uh his Gina and my mom, and we're all there and we're at the yard sale and they're like, oh, we'll donate what you want for the videos. And it was up in smoke there for there. And I'm like, 25 cents? And they're like, yeah. So I got up in smoke for 25 cents. I'm like, Dad, this is the one with the van, right? And Dad goes, yeah, that's the one with the van. And dad's like, and then my dad backed into a tree. I'm like, see, that's what you get for by helping me buy Cheech and Chong in the church. The garage, yeah. He totally sideswiped that tree. It's funny. I sort of miss VCRs. They don't scratch like the DVDs do. DVDs scratch pretty easy still. VCRs, every once in a while they get it in a tape player. If you sort of like, do you remember when the cassette tapes used to get like caught in the thing and then we'd have to rewind it with a pencil or tighten it with a pencil? I used to be such a pro at that. I don't know where that came from. But that all came from a Chong movie. Anyhow, my ADHD, see, I wonder. I don't know. I can't wait to make more stuff. I think I'm gonna try making RSO toothpaste. Why not? It's very healing for you. So I already got the other thing. We'll make it normal the first time. I don't know. That might get just too stoned while we're trying to like get ready for a change. Maybe for good night toothpaste, we'll make some
I
RSO
can
toothpaste.
the RSO toothpaste may be an excellent one because you only may wake up once every 3 days to eat. So
Right.
your
The
teeth
diet
will
plan of
be
the century.
amazingly clean.
Oh. Oh, I got cheers. Oh, that's funny. Oh shit. It may be the best diet plan ever. I know. I smoked some this morning and I went to bed for like 2:30. I was like, what? I was like, she was a kid, and she said it was the indigo, so it smelled really good. I'm like, all right, we'll try this one. And I'm like, yeah, so I guess it is good. It just maybe because you're waking up grumpy. I'm like, well, it's because I'm smoking and then falling back asleep. I don't think I can. I'm like, I think I need a sativa. This one is definitely indica. Maybe I haven't smoked a straight indica in a while. Oh, and then I took another nap. I took like 3 naps today, but maybe I just needed to sleep. So I've just been tired. I don't. I give a lot at work, so I do. I'm like, I've never seen. They're like, you're awfully busy in your line. I'm like, it must be my smile that draws them in. Like, I'm like, maybe I got to get grumpy a little bit because sometimes they don't get a break and they'll. I can't even like move hardly, and I'm like, it's pretty cool. I haven't seen, I get to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a while, like people from school. I've seen a lot of people from school since I started working there. So, because I was working midnights for like years. So I pretty much, everyone got to see me every once in a while because I was just like there. And then they closed that. Well, I put my 2 weeks in when that all started. I wasn't even sure what it was, but my mom got sick. She had a heart attack and then she got out of the hospital. And then in between, and then a week later, she got pneumonia. And I got exposed in between there to influenza B or A. I don't know which one it was, but I was pissed off because I couldn't go see my mom. And that was it. I put my 2 weeks in and I was done. And it wasn't even from a customer, it was from a coworker. That's what pissed me off even more. I was like, no, I'm out of here. I needed to change anyways. Midnights are not the way to work. It was no. You miss your whole life working. I missed like 7 years of my life, it seems like. Because you got to sleep sometime. Like I couldn't at first, the first year I worked there, I couldn't sleep worth poop. But the second year I got a little bit more under control. But I didn't want to get stuck on that schedule either. But even doing the 2 to 11, it's sort of like that schedule. So I don't because I stay up late at night now. So sort of like brought that back a little bit, but not all night. As long as I go to sleep sometime before like 4, I'll be okay.
Sounds like you should just start gardening. Those are cannabis grower hours right there.
Right? Right.
Perfect time to tend to the plants.
As
Um,
soon as I just want to get the right place. You know what I mean? Where I'm comfortable and that way more comfortable and then I'll feel more. I don't I just like feeling I gotta feel right because if I don't, I'm not gonna want to fuck with it. And right now it's too hard getting that dog up and down the stairs to go outside to go potty and keeping him on this thing. Let's face it, he's a little escape artist. But now I keep his little choker like taut when I'm out there and I feel horrible, but I'm like, you did to yourself, dude. You tried like running away and you're like being mean to people. So I gotta get you under control, bud. You know, he's just crabby. He just like, I guess it's a German Shepherd thing. I've been watching that Sadie the Sable Shepherd, and she calls herself the German Shepherd security team. I don't think they're joking about that because they take their job very seriously. And they will come and like investigate the whole situation. They don't let hardly nothing slip by them. Like he is on it when he's on patrol. I'm like, here, take a nap. That way you're not looking out the window and barking at squirrels. I'm like, please. But he's been pretty mellow. Exactly. I keep telling them, I'm like, I'll be back in 4 hours. Mom will be back in 4 hours. Be a good boy. Because yeah, I'm trying to get him used to that 4 hours. Because at least I get a break in 4 hours so I can my lunch and then I can let him out and stuff. So try to. This is a
So, are you treating your, for your thyroid? You mentioned you're treating yourself
that
with thyroid.
well, I learned about iodine. You put iodine in your water if you drop the iodine in your water. And then there's I'm supposed to be that's the only part and I've been working on my eating. I try not to eat such fatty foods because when they took my gallbladder out, they don't tell you this when they take your gallbladder out. When they take your gallbladder out, it messes up your thyroid. They didn't even tell me that. And they didn't tell me when they took your gallbladder out that the pain could come back. So I never really changed my diet for a long time. And just recently, like in March, I quit drinking pot and that helped immensely. Like the pain mostly go away. But if I eat like too heavy of a meal, like steak or something, my body can't digest it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Because without my gallbladder being there and it messes with my thyroid, well, it was giving me that I was getting the fatigue thing, but it works good with the iodine. What is that thing? There's something you chew on and they help with the, I can't remember what they're called. I'll have to look it up. It's been a while since I thought about this. I've been so busy trying to figure out I get sidetracked because I've got so many things like I want to do. Like there's so many different products I want to try. Like pomade. My pomade, I didn't even know what pomade was when I made it. I knew it was something for your hair, but I never tried it before, which would have immensely made my hair like a lot prettier in high school. That would have worked a lot better than Aquanet, let me tell you. Anyways, so when I made it, I could even put RSO in that too. Ooh, that would give you a nice head buzz. Yeah. See? Yeah, that would be all tingly. That'd be the like headband feeling, I guess. I haven't had that one in a while. Headband was okay. I don't know what one my favorite one is. I know I like blueberry because it helped cut the eating and it made me not so heavy, but it could do either. It helped balance me out. It's whatever my body needed at the time, it would do. If I needed it to go up, it would go up. If I needed a downer, it would go calm me down. It was sort of nice. So, and the blackberry helped immensely. I only had that like twice too. I could smell that one from a mile away because if I really like it, I will sniff out the scent. It's like weird. I think that's why I'm so good at doing the scents and stuff because, like, okay, for example, when we were teenagers and it get to be time for a party, like, at school, everyone started talking about Wednesday. So I would get quiet and I would just listen. It became a game. No one would tell me when the party was, but I would find it because I would get close enough, hear the close enough coordinates, and I'd have my sister drive around because my sister had her son early. So I'd ask Gina and Dad, I'm like, can Sabrina have a night off? Can we have a night off so we could go out? And she'd be like, all right. So that week I'd start listening extra hard because I'd usually go, but I like to take my sister with me because it was funner with my sister. Because we're only a year and a half apart, so we'd have like awesome times at parties. So we're like sit there, and she'd roll down the window, and I just stick my head out. And I'm like, it's over this way, and then we'd find it, and everyone would be like, oh, there she is, and I'm like, yep, can't hide a party for me because I know. She knows. I was always good at finding parties. Now, if it was a good party, I don't know. I always knew when it was going to be a bad party though. And my sister's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I just know. She goes, I don't listen to you. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, you should listen to me. We go to better parties. I always have fun parties most of the time. If there's no smoking, though, it doesn't make it a good party. Because then people are too crabby. They like take everything too seriously. It's like, no, you're supposed to be doing this to relax. Why is everyone getting all bitchy? It's like, what's the point if everyone's just going to be fighting? I don't want to be around a bunch of people fighting. I'd rather have a mellow time and everyone just be silly and happy and carefree. And
So,
oh, body wash. I make all sorts of stuff. I make body wash. I make shampoos.
So what has been your most I started writing for body wash and chat. That's fucking hilarious. That's stoner moment right there. Um how many times you should honestly meet Carla Christian Baked Kitchens. I think you two would get along well. How many times have you played? How many times have you tried some of these things and like the shampoo or the body wash and went, okay, that works really good, but I need to dial it back a little bit, or vice
Uh,
versa.
yeah, I did a few of those. I didn't. The first time I made the body wash, it was really, I don't know what I did. It was awesome. It had the texture that I wanted. And then the second time I made it, it was sort of flat. I'm like, well, what did I do different? So then you got to try and figure out what you did wrong, which is usually sometimes I'll add a little extra at the end. You know what I mean? Because if it don't look right or smell right, I always am dabbling with it. I made it went a little overboard that time trying to dabble with it because I didn't think it smelled right. So I got to go more for the healing than the smell sometimes. I just like to make stuff smell good. Like my peace rain scent. I can't put it in my lotion during the summer because it's got citrus in it and it makes you photogenic. So I don't want no one burning in the sun, you know. So I could do it in my laundry pods, which I like doing because then I still get the scent and the calming scent, and it does help. It's my version of anxiety release, but I like the anxiety release too because I couldn't find vetiver. I went into the thing to look for vetiver, and the first natural food store I went to didn't have it. So I'm like, do you have anything with vetiver in it? And it was anxiety release. Well, let me tell you, that ended up being a godsend in itself because, like, if, like, I know kids that have anxiety attacks, like 14-year-olds and stuff, and they put some of this on and it calms them right down, like my lotion, not the adult lotion. I do make regular lotions too. So, you know what I mean? But you could put the RSO with that too. And I do that too. And that one's a really good one too. Everyone seemed to like that. I'm like, well, in summer you can't use it. That's why you do it as a winter one, which you sort of need it to help boost you anyways. But I put epimedium. I've been putting a lot of epimedium, which is horny goat, in my stuff lately. I just like the smell of it, and I like the fact it helps with depression, and it makes puts you in a good mood, and it does help with the other. It's in the name, man. It's horny goat. So
It's an
when people seem
aphrodisiac,
to like that,
correct?
yeah, yes, an aphrodisiac, and I made one with the CBD in it, just messing around trying the CBD to see what I could do, and I made that one really earthy with sage and rosemary and thyme. It was like really, it was more of my potion. It was like cool. I put actual herbs in it and stuff, so I was really excited about that one instead of just the essential. It's sort of mixed them. And that way, and everyone's like, well, you didn't. I'm like, I told you it had a medium in it. And they go to like have a nice relaxing shower and then a massage down, and it turns into a, a fun night. So helping couples there too. Oh, and dragon's blood. Dragon's blood's been a good one too. Because dragon's blood's like really healthy for you. Like fights a lot of nasty stuff too. I can't say you're not supposed to say the C word, I guess. Helps with. It's really good one for that. Black seed oil too. So I put a combination of a lot of earth and love in my stuff too. I just don't grow it. I'm afraid I'll kill the plants. I killed the cactus. I probably will have to have someone show me how to keep something alive plant wise. I've only done it once. It was my grandma's plant. I inherited it, part of her plant, and I kept it alive for 5 years. I was very proud of myself. And then one day it just didn't survive no more. I was very sad. I was very upset with myself, but I kept it alive for a while and mine bloomed, which it was pretty exciting. I got a that plant to bloom. I can't remember what kind it was. It was a very beautiful plant. She was really good at keeping her plants alive. But you know what I'm thinking? She married Leo too. So maybe it was grandpa that did a lot of watering of the plants. Because I wonder if grandma forgot about the plants too. I forget it's there. And I'll like and then I'll overwater it. He's like, no, so we'd have to go fix it. Sometimes he'd have to come along behind me and fix what I was doing, but he's like, you're trying. That's good. I don't, I, but I can make lotions. I'm better at making the lotions and stuff than I am at cooking. I enjoy it a little bit more. I don't know. I like cooking too, but I have to be in the mood to cook. So, like stoner breakfasts are definitely something I like to cook, but I don't have no potatoes right now. Otherwise, I would have fried me up. So I wanted to do that, but I do have a few days off this weekend, so maybe I'm going to get myself a big. But I use the coconut. I infuse the RSO with the coconut oil. That way it'll last a little longer. But I do like it in the butter too. The butter, it tastes amazing too. I've had it that way too. I just don't. It's good for eating. It's probably, but it does go bad. Butter don't go bad that fast usually, unless you get it like fresh from the. My mom was so lucky. She grew up on a farm. She got the milk right from the cow without the pasteurization. And do you know how lucky they are for that? How healthy they got just from that alone? You know what I mean? It's crazy. And I really don't think I would have been good on a farm though. The smells. Mom would laugh. I'm like, roll the window right now. I'm like, are you sure half our family came from a farm? Mom goes, I think you got the city side. Because they were both from downstate, but my mom lived in Hamburg area, and then my dad lived more by Plymouth, so their families were in the Livonia area. So that's where my family came from. And then they moved up here, and then they had us, me and my sister. They were together 7 years before they had us. Mom prayed for us like every day, seems like. And then finally it came around. I think mom regretted it because I was like a little thorn in her side. Instead of that, I just was independent and mom just did not know what to do with me. She goes, if you didn't want to do something, you weren't doing it. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I stood in my, mom goes, you always stood in your chair. So I'm like, yes, mom. I'm like, I will stand there and I will ground my feet. And I'll scream in their face. But I'm better now. Me and my mom get along great now. She's so nice. She's not mean anymore. It's weird. She got the dimension. She got really super nice and I get along. She goes, she goes, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too, mom. And she just wants to be with me. And I feel bad because she can't be with me all the time. But you know what the dementia's caused from? All that medicine. I read on that one too, because I've been looking up all sorts of things. So I'm not very happy with the medical system. No.
Started to
And
hear
after what they
things
did with me.
about cannabis actually being able to help with dementia a little.
Yes, and it helps with PTSD too, because I had that. And I know talking to veterans, that's one of my favorite things to do is help veterans. They tell me about it, and I guess they need, some of them need more because they get head trauma, the psychedelic ones, but I'm like, no, I never mess with that. So yeah, maybe. I read about something called ghost pipe, and the Cherokee use that for medicine, like really good pain medicine. And it grows like natural in the woods by certain trees. And you know, we got those oak trees out there in the forest, so I might have to go wandering. It's only by 2 trees. So it's sort of cool. It was cool. And I'm like, oh, well, I was drawn to that too. I try to look at all cultures and, you know, I knew about black seed oil. I was figuring out about black seed oil before I read something, or I got something popped up on my phone from Dr. Bean Gupta. And he was talking about different studies they were using for COVID. And they used black seed oil and honey for one of the studies in India for COVID. And I was putting those two together before even that. So I think I've got a good start. So I just call it beauty products because it's just Mother Nature. Sort of like vegetables, putting the vegetables in. I got my kids to love mushrooms by cutting them up microscopically because I wasn't going without mushrooms. So, and I like snuck them in the food, and finally they're like, "We really like mushrooms." I'm like, "I know." I just learned a different way to like sneak stuff in. It's just like helping people. I don't like seeing pain, and I've seen a lot of pain, so it's time for the pain to stop. Pain's got to stop. and they got to stop pretend like they're not doing nothing wrong too, because and then they treat it like it's our fault when they cut us off like cold turkey, and like the pain's like immense. They like, it's not like ripping off a fucking band-aid, you know, it's not like the sting goes away right away. It takes months, sometimes years for the pain to go away. It's not like, I don't even like think about my back in those, it hurts so bad.
I've had on Breeder Steve, which is an amazing guy, and he's talked about as far as like old cooking oils, soaking his
Yes.
fan leaves in, I believe he uses an olive oil for like a period of time, and then straining the leaves out and then putting more in. You know what I mean? Rinse, lather, and repeat like 3 times, and then
Right.
cooking with that oil. Uh, he was on the show one time and he had, fried. You mentioned fried potatoes earlier. He had fried some potatoes in that oil and was very much feeling that oil, the effects of the oil. And I always thought that was neat, a way of extracting
Yes.
goodies from cannabis, I guess.
Yes, there's so many different ways that even when you think you know all the different ways, someone will blow your mind with another way to extract it out of there. And it's just amazing how far everyone's just, I just find this awesome that the movement's starting to go, you could tell it's starting to go natural, and it's just finally, it's like finally. Just so
I
happy.
asked that question about the effects of testing yourself on yourself, I guess, because sometimes there are some wonderful accidents in testing things out. Me myself, making butter. The first few times making butter, I knew I was aiming for a strong product, but that's not where the process went wrong. Uh, it was actually the cheaper side of me uh, wanting to get everything I could get from the yield, I guess. And that being at that point, I was using cheesecloth. I didn't do all the cannabis into some cheesecloth, and I'm just literally just squeezing that ball as hard as I could, to get every last little drop. Not even thinking about it as it squeezed through my fingers and down my arm, that it was all
Oh,
soaking
yes.
in and got. Oh man, the one time I hallucinated. I I literally like made the butter and I was like turned around. I'm like, shit, might as well make some cookies. So I turn around, make some cookies, and turn around. I had thrown some mint chip, chocolate chip cookies. Taste like they taste a lot like thin mint cookies. You can hardly taste the cannabis in there. So they come out and they're all fresh, and I throw a couple of those back. And the next thing I know, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna take me a little nappy, and then I fucking I get up and I'm literally, my head feels like it's 4 feet above my body, and I'm like totally, yeah, I'm not necessarily hallucinating to the point where I guess I was seeing things, but let's say I took a 45-minute laugh shower. so, so yeah, it was quite the experience. It lasted for about 4 hours, easy, to where
Oh,
uncontrollable
yeah.
laughs and
My
good time.
favorite day is making stuff because I'm like, I'm so soft and smooth by the time I'm done because it gets everywhere. I've had it land on the ceiling, the butter, because I'm like, gotta whip it up, right? So I gotta whip it for 10 minutes. I learned not to go wait until I was out of lotion to make it. I was the meanest. He goes, what the heck is wrong with you? I'm like, do you not see me whipping this? Because I've got a shrinking disc in my back. So every time I'm like standing there whipping up the thing, it's like jarring that back. And I'm like, and I was just like crabby. And he goes, don't do that again. I'm like, okay, that's how I act but I do know my lotion lasts longer than the lotion I was buying because mine was still good a year later because I don't put water in my lotion. It don't go bad as fast. That's why I don't put water. I find different stuff like witch hazel to put in it, or like when I make my body wash and stuff. And that way you get the full effect of the healing of the essential oils too. And I
So
always
how,
slow cook mine, double broil it. I don't put my heat directly on it, and I do it on low heat. Don't microwave nothing. In fact, I don't even have a microwave up here. When I got my own apartment, I wouldn't even get one, but he had one, so I made him move it downstairs. That was part of the agreement coming up. I was telling people I didn't have microwave stuff. I've only used it once, and that was for a White Castle, which I shouldn't even eat that stuff. I still am working on my eating. Sometimes I eat like not good. Like today I had pizza, but I did get a salad with it, so I balanced it a little bit. I guess that's what it's about, is trying to balance. But I'm learning how to eat for my energy, not for my taste. Oh, I can't hear you again. Oh.
sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
So you said close to 20 some products that you kind of tested or tried. So we have
Yes.
creams, the balm,
Yep. Yes.
body wash,
Uh-huh.
and
Deodorants. Spray deodorants too. I can make salads, but I don't have the containers yet. I've made a salad before. I just need the
so
little tubey things.
I don't know, the deodorant would be seems kind of interesting because it seems like it would your armpit would kind of like absorb well.
Yes. And it goes through your whole body that way. That's why it's so important not to put aluminum in not to get the aluminum and the parabens and the deodorant, because your lymph node goes through your whole body. And, and when you think they know what they're doing when they do this, don't think I know they know what they're doing. It's too coincidental that they're so close with the medical community and the industry, you know what I mean? They know. And they're just hurting us. And it's like, look what they did with baby powder for years. The talc powder in the Johnson and Johnson. I'm at the point where I feel bad my kids even used any of those products. I would have totally made it myself if I would have known about this. My kid, and even Tylenol is not even good for us. Or the aspirin, or the other one. I've only had probably 3 all this year. I'm very proud of myself. Usually when my teeth are bad, like I will like pretty much OD myself on Tylenol and stuff. And the other thing, because they won't give you anything heavier for it. Well, when your teeth like they can't get you in and your teeth like rotting out of your head, don't you think they don't even give you pain medicine for that anymore. So they're like, oh, take this and this. It gives you no, it does not. It's not the same. But I learned how to my lotion, because of the coconut oil I put in, kept my infection like centered where it was so it didn't spread, because they're like, well, that's really infected for you to be in not as much pain as you're in. I'm like, it's my pain lotion I make. Like, I put it on my face. I'll put it on my forehead. I am not ashamed. It'll, as long as you use like hair friendly stuff in it. Like I put black seed oil in it, which is black turmeric, which is good for your hair, and it doesn't thin out your blood like the yellow turmeric does. Even though if you're not on a blood thinner, yellow turmeric one would be the better pain one because it works a little. I don't know. It seemed to work better on my dad. I noticed my dad hadn't stood up straight. He was a diesel mechanic, so he was always on the concrete on his knees and stuff when he was fixing the trucks and stuff. So his back was always jacked up. Well, once I got his back feeling better, then he noticed it was his hips. He didn't even know his hips were bad because his back was so bad, and he had surgeries and everything. So I won't even let him do a surgery on my back. I'll just fix it myself. It didn't work. So I'm not gonna, if it didn't work for my dad, it's probably not gonna work for me. And yeah. Like, I know my dad. He likes my stuff. I know he does. He goes, I'm like, Dad was being grumpy with me. He came to a show and he was like growling at me and stuff. And I'm like, so I guess you don't want me to put no lotion on you, do you? And he goes, no, you can put some lotion on me. And I'm like, putting it on his back. I'm like, not so grumpy now, are you? I'm like, "Not so grumpy." I need to go bring him one. I gotta, it's been in the fridge for like 3 days. I just haven't, I, I've been tired. I don't know what it is. I've just been tired this week. It's been a lot of, it's been a busy summer and I think my body, I've had so many festivals. How do you go to so many festivals and have so much energy?
Well,
Like,
this year's been a light year for me. Most years it's more way busier, but it is picking up in the off season as it's slowing down Michigan. I'm thinking about picking up, moving with cannabis, I guess.
right. That's
I
crazy
love
how they only let you have 6 plants in California to grow. That's that's insane. California is one of the biggest pot smoking. They do smoke a lot of pot out there. It's just you got to be in the right groups. I just never found the right group, it seems like. But I always went back to my one base group, my one friend, he's like, all right, this is what you do. And I'm like, okay, my friends like kept me safe. Like, I mean, I was still bad, but they kept me so I didn't go because they knew I was from Michigan and I'm like from not the biggest town. Depending on what situation it is, sometimes I told them I was from Detroit. I did live in Plymouth. That was about the only thing I stretched on, either the small town or that. I either use the city or the small town, depending on what situation I was in. But a lot of people are intimidated from Detroit. So Detroit's badass. We are definitely, people are afraid to come to Michigan sometimes because of Detroit. I'm like, no, not all of Michigan's like that. I'm like, that's just the inner city. It's sort of like California once you get out, it's sort of cool. And everyone's like, when they find out you're in San Diego, oh, my cousin was out there. I'm like, nope. I'm like, I can't even explain how big San Diego is. Just San Diego alone has so many different counties in different sections. But I did run into one person from Michigan that I went to school with. And I was like, do you remember me? And I'm like, oh no. I was very disappointed. I'm like, I didn't come out here to fucking meet. I'm like, here, I'll set you up with my friend. And then I like pawned him off of it. I'm like, no, no. I literally totally set him up with my friend and like wandered off into the sunset in the way. I was like, nope. I was out of there. Obviously, I went there for an experience, right? I was sick of Michigan. I wanted to experience life. I guess I wanted to be a rock star, but I didn't find all the rock stars. I found a bunch of cool people though with different stories. There's a bunch of stories, and I don't know. I'm just glad I got out of there.
Never been to California. I'm hoping to make my first trip this year in December to the Emerald Cup Ball
Where's that one at?
in Mendocino, I believe. That's where they're having it. Sometimes I think they had last year's in LA, but I'm not for sure. It's usually in Mendocino.
I went to LA once. It was at nighttime, and all I saw was hookers, and it smelled like pee. That's what I remember. That's it. It was Sunset Strip, but it didn't look like Sunset Strip like you see in movies. Like I always thought, people do not all sound like Valley Girls. I thought everyone sounded like Encino Man. You know what I mean? And it was like some people do, but it was so different because there's all these different cultures. You literally have to learn it. For a long time, I didn't understand what anyone was saying from a different. I was like, what? It took me like 5 times. Someone sometimes telling me stuff. I learned so much different, and I learned Spanish just so I knew when people were talking bad about me because I knew they were talking poop. You just know. And this one girl was talking crap about me, her and her friend. And I come back and she goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, I know they're talking crap. And I'm like, and I couldn't even say what they said. And I got it this close to, I got it pretty close to Mama Rose, and Mama Rose was like, oh no, you're not like that. So she taught me in 3 days how to say a full thing in Spanish. And I said something to him. And that my ex, well, he's my ex-husband now, but he turned around, he thought a homegirl come in. And I was telling them off in Spanish, like homegirl style. I don't know what I said. She wouldn't tell me what they said. She knew it hurt my feelings and it wasn't true. So she didn't even bother. They literally never said nothing into my face after that again. They were nice to me after that. And even when she was trying to be nice to me, half the time I was rude to her after that because I knew I was right. And I'm like, how dare you say anything? Because they were all like tweaked out, you know what I mean? And they're like, I'm like, I'm not like that. Even when I was on it, I wasn't like that. I always kept my heart. I guess that's what makes me different. I came out of a bad situation with my heart still. And I'm just grateful I did. And because I've seen some shit, like I will tell you about it when I off camera. We don't need to get kicked off air. I've seen some wild stuff, but I don't know. I'm just glad to be just on this. This is perfectly fine for me. And maybe some shrooms every once in a while or something. That's about where I go. It's natural, not nothing crazy.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir here. Nothing wrong with mushrooms in this crowd, that's for sure.
If I can get them to work. My
So
body's weird.
your approach to learning Spanish had me cracking up. You're like, no. Shit talking terms. I just want to know the shit talking terms.
The rest will come naturally. But I always told
Right.
people I didn't know Spanish because they talked too fast to me and I couldn't, like, if they would take their time and like slow it down, I could understand what they were saying. Like, I could pick up bits and pieces that I usually just stuck to myself and pretend like I didn't speak it because my tongue don't roll like that. I can't. I guess I rolled it a little bit, but it's not easy for me to do that. And English is my language. I did try learning French when I was 11, pretty much for the same terms, except for it was my family because my grandma, I noticed, would talk in French sometimes. I'm like, Mom, why is she talking in French? She goes, oh, that's the juicy stuff. That's stuff for not kids appropriate. I'm like, I was like, is this why are you taking this French class? I'm like, because I want to know the dirt. I'm like, I want to know what everyone's talking about because I feel left out. I didn't want to be left out of any conversation at all. I just want to be one of everybody. I knew if I was going to help fix, maybe I knew I have to help fix something down the line, and I just needed to know. I was the most curious little kid ever, but oh good, it's still going. I thought it went out. I don't know. I'm just me. But I know because I just, you put on some good. I like cologne and stuff, but I didn't like the way it made my body feel. Like it would make my body feel like sometimes it sting. So I guess my body always had a thing of chemicals, which is weird considering what I was on out in California. But I had to have the cleaner one. I couldn't do just anything, and I think that saved most of my teeth. So at least the front part of my smile, thank goodness, because I see some people and they didn't get so lucky. So maybe it was quality over quantity. I don't. I think that does have something to do with it, but that goes with everything in life, not just the drugs. Like I used to only think of it as that way, but no, it's supposed to be like that with everything, your food, what you wash yourself with, what water you're using. Hence the Flint area. That's horrible what the city did to. I don't understand what makes people think that they can get away with doing that to other people. That's not right. Just make the right decisions. It's not that hard, It's not that hard. And a lot of people have a hard time with that, and that's just not acceptable. That's I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know if it's movies we were watching, probably. Maybe some of the I know. But I look at Hollywood a completely different way now than I did like all those years ago. And it is like the whole thing. It's not just Hollywood, it's everything. it's weird how it opened a lot of people's eyes to what's actually going on. You know, this whole epidemic thing, other crises, weird stuff going on. I try not to watch TV no more. It's, you know what disgusted me? Wait, Kevin Smith was on The View. You know how sad that made me? I don't know why that made me sad, but it did. I was like, you know what? I can't even watch his movies no more. It ruined Clerks 3. I was sort of excited it was coming out. The reboot was okay, but it is true. They're not coming up with no new stuff. They're just laughing at their old shit and fucking redoing it. No, you come up with something new. At least add something to the story to make it. The reboot was good, seeing the kids like grown up and like seeing Kevin Smith's daughter in it. And then Jason Mewes had a kid, which I didn't know about. And she was in the movie too. So that was cool. Like, so I wouldn't want my kids in the movies, I don't think. I don't think I would do that to my children. Because why would you want to put your kids in the spotlight like that? There's enough pressure on them already.
Yeah, I don't like the way Hollywood is currently portraying cannabis. To be honest with
Right.
you, and so in the movies past, I guess it was kind of funny. I guess in some of the older stoner movies where they not necessarily that was the complete theme, but
Right.
some of the new stoner shows, like the ones out on Netflix, I can't even remember the name of it at the moment, but it was almost like an insult to cannabis. And a lot of the newer shows that are like cannabis driven, or the theme of the show, characters seem to be dumbed down still. And that's not necessarily what I've seen in cannabis. I've seen uh,
Right.
most people I know are very intelligent. You know what I mean? Very work driven, great work ethics, great ethics in general. And I don't know. I just think they don't portray the campus community in a good light.
It's because they're mixing it in with doing the heavier drugs. And when you do the heavier drugs, that's when your morals start to slip a little bit easier. Well, some people's morals just go, like I've seen people that are completely gone. And I don't know if they'll ever come back. You know what I mean? Like that kind of gone. And they have nothing left up there. They ate a hole through their whole brain, I guess. It's like, dude, really? I'm like, did you not have nothing? I learned a long time ago I needed my brains because my brains gets me out of a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? It helps keep me like, going, and my heart keeps me going too, and it keeps me out of trouble too. So sometimes it gets me into trouble, but most of the time it helps. I don't know. I met a lot of people and I could definitely tell them on heavy drugs were a different person than on normal when they didn't have them. Because I've seen them with a lot of people with them and a lot of people without them. Because when they couldn't afford it and stuff. You know what I mean? So they'd be clean for a period of time because they blow all their money they were getting in the beginning. And then they'd have to be like suffer for the whole month pretty much because they didn't know how to like space it out and stuff. It was weird. I've never seen so many people not be able to. It's just weird. It's horrible what they do to California. They don't help people. Like it was very hard for me to find my way out of because when I got there, I had we had $100 and it got stolen because he took the money into the shower. You know, those community showers. I'm like, no, dude. Well, granted, if he would have gave it to me, I probably would have ran with it because I was very happy. I was a little like, but then we went over to TJ and he ended up having a warrant from Michigan and he stayed in TJ in the jail. And I came through and they were like questioning him and they wouldn't let him through. And everyone's like, you can't go back that way. I'm like, oh no, I'm going back that way. So you know how when you come out of if you walk over, oh, you've never been there. So you walk over the bridge and then they check you through a checkpoint and no one goes back that way. Well, I went back that way because my friend that I came from Michigan did not come through that thing. And I was stuck there by myself. I didn't know nobody, and he wasn't coming out. Like they kept him over there from something stupid, something he didn't even do here. He didn't even do it. I know he didn't. He didn't do it. Just crap. And they're like, no, ma'am, you can't come in this way. I'm like, well, I'm not leaving without an answer. So you better take me to someone who can give me an answer. I don't think they've ever been talked to that way. Now, if you tried that at the Canadian border, you probably get in a lot of trouble. But those guys aren't as nice, which sounds weird. You think they'd be meaner at the Mexican border than at Canadian border because, oh, sorry, but it's Canada. It's like everyone's like, weren't you scared to go over there? I'm like, it's Canada, dude. They're the nicest people ever. I'm like, those people are way nicer than Americans. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, oh, hold on. I had to plug in my phone and I'm trying to get it to like, it's not cooperating. I'll just hold it. And I'm like, they were really nice. Not at the border, they're not nice. I've been kicked out, not allowed in Canada twice. Twice I've been allowed in by myself, but twice I have not. And thank goodness they didn't search car that one time because my friend had something on her and I didn't know it. I would have went to jail too because it, it would have been my car and that's stupid rule. I was like, glad they turned us around. I'm like, bitch, you don't take shit over to Canada. Like, you get the shit while you're in Canada. You don't take it over there. You retarded. I'm like, no, you're not getting me caught up in some bullshit. I kept myself out of trouble this long. I'm not going in trouble for that, especially not that. So thank goodness I've never gotten in trouble with anything that. I always knew when to quit, I guess. And that comes in handy sometimes. I don't, I'm just babbling at this point. I don't know. I do know that there's a difference of drugs when you do the drugs, what it does to your body. Like if you do a lot of methamphetamines, it will eat a hole through your brain. It'll put holes there, like take out chunks, which I didn't believe it until we were going over a bridge. We went over to Coronado twice, and there's this big, beautiful, fancy Coronado hotel. And I'm like, oh, look at that hotel. And I said it twice the same way, I guess both times I seen it. And I'm like, that place looks awesome. I wish I could stay there. And he goes, you just said that 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, holes. I'm like, then we have to stop right now. That's what I said. I'm like, because I don't want no holes in my head. I'm like, okay. I like worked really hard to like keep my brains, not just let them go for stupid shit. You know, it never made sense to me. And if I would have known who made the original formula, I wouldn't have touched it in the first place. They don't tell you in DARE class. I don't even think they talked about it really in DARE class. When I went to DARE, I don't think they even mentioned methamphetamines. They mentioned coke and they mentioned like acid and stuff. And I remember them mentioning maybe shrooms and pot, and that was it. But I knew it was bullshit about the pot because some of my friends were already smoking it. So I'm at like 11 going through DARE class. I'm like, no, my friends are already smoking. I'm like, no, they're cool. I'm like, no, I don't think it's that one. Because the drinking always made people act more stupid to me than the smoking of the pot. You know what I mean? Because pot makes us giggly and stuff, but it's not like, it's a good thing. It's great to laugh. I don't understand why people don't like people laughing because laughing is one of the most healing things too. So
Most definitely. The
yeah,
oxytocin is very powerful. Super powerful.
yes. And if you can laugh in a bad situation, it makes it much better. You can get through anything if you can laugh at it. I found that very useful tactic when times are bad, just to laugh. And it throws people off too. If you're fighting with someone and you laugh, they'll usually leave because they're like, oh, this person might be crazy. I'm like, that you might want to leave. Just go. It's just easier on your face. I'm like, just leave me alone. Because I had to learn how to fight while I was out there. I wasn't gonna leave myself defenseless. So I learned how to fight while I was out there, but I don't do it very often because I don't want to get in trouble. I've only been to jail a few times for stupid shit. It wasn't even stupid shit. It was just something minor. It was just a like misdemeanor. So it was nothing bad. I never got in trouble for anything big. So I knew when to quit and walk away. I've like, if I tell you, if you ever hear me say, I want to go to that, I want to, I just, my sister, like people go, you're always right. I'm like, I just, sometimes you just know. And when I just know, I won't do it. I'll be like, no, I'll stay home. And then someone else gets a charge. I'm like, see, I told you to stay home. That party wasn't worth it, was it? I'm like, to her. She goes, I wasn't even doing nothing wrong. I'm like, I know, but the cops, they don't care. They're going to get you in trouble anyways. because that's how they get their money. And that's why they target certain families and stuff, because they know they don't have the money to fight. I've seen that a lot. And even here, up here versus in California, I've seen it both ways. So, and those cops are scary out there. They were very scary. And they will swear at you and they will shoot first and ask questions later, especially in the bigger city. And I was in the neighborhood. Okay, so I'm in the bathroom and they're banging on the door and they're like, all of a sudden, or they were on the outside door and I hear San Diego PD and I'm like, what the fuck? And it was National City Police. So it was very scary. And they're like, what are you doing in there? I'm like, I fucking pissed. If you don't swear at the cops. And I'm like, I was startled. So, and they're like, oh, I stunned them. And I come out and I'm like this white girl. And they're like, you're not in the right neighborhood. I'm like, I know. Can I leave now? And they let me leave. I'm like, okay, thank you. Because my face, I'm glad for my innocent face. It kept me out of a lot of trouble. When I wasn't always good, but I would like to go back and visit and see what's changed, maybe. But I don't know. I'm not quite sure about that because.
So
I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask how they can find your tacos. Is it just through
Oh,
Facebook, or can they you going to some of these festivals and kind of tabling, I guess, or vendoring is better word.
yes. Or if they see me, just come and say I saw you on this or something. You know what I mean? That would, and I'd be like, oh, okay. Because then sometimes, like, I talk about my stuff all the time, and I've met people from Omer. I met people from all over, and it's just so cool to meet everybody. And I wanted to, when it gets federal, then I can ship it everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for it to be federal to do the adult ones everywhere, but I can do my other ones. I could ship like my regular lotion, like I do C-section cream, like it helps with under the C-section. Like if you had a C-section, it helps keep the moisture away and then it helps heal it too. So I've been working on that one. I do all sorts of weird stuff, work on stuff, come up with stuff. It's fun. It's fun work. I don't even consider it work because it's like fun. So, and I'm healing myself while I'm healing other people, so it helps. Because I test everything on myself first. I even make puppy shampoo and calming spray. I was making calming lotion, but no one was buying the calming lotion, so it just went to the calming spray. But it smells like chocolate, so people freak out. It doesn't have chocolate in it. It just the herbs and they put together. It just came out smelling like chocolate. It smells like chocolate mint cookies, or the Girl Scout cookies, the mint cookies. Like you were talking about the chocolate mint cookies. That's what it smells like. It smells like chocolate cookies. I'm like, I always put it on him before I go to work, and I'm like, you smell like sexy chocolate. That's what I told the puppy. And he's like, oh, I can't spray it on him. He won't let me spray it on him. So I have to spray it on my hands and then wipe it on. I will chase him around for a half an hour trying to spray it on him. It's just so much easier spraying on my hands and then rubbing it together and putting it on him like it's cologne. I guess it's a boy thing. They don't like to be sprayed. I don't know. He runs, but I try and calm him down the best I can naturally. And he just, I call it the golden pooch shampoo. But I put coconut milk in my shampoo and all sorts of stuff. It's pretty yummy. It smells delicious. Everyone's like, I can tell you've been creating, because they all sniff me and they're like, you always smell amazing. I'm like, peace raid. And they're like, and then one time I was on a thing and they haven't seen me and they're like, Trisha, you're glowing. I'm like, peace raid. I was on a Zoom call and they're all cracking up. And I'm like, no, I'm vlogging myself. I have people that I don't know what happened to that group. It was on Telegram, but they stopped. Sucks. I wanted to go in there and every once in a while I come in and say, I'm okay. I'm just working, because I've just been busy and stuff. Oh, I thought I heard something. Every once in a while, okay, I know my kratom is for eating is addicting because I had a little mouse and it ate through all of my kratom, my pit balms, my detoxifying pit balms. But they hit like 40 bags because I only had little baggies because I was having a hard time like finding the containers, and it ate out of every single one of them. And we caught one, and then I saw one again. So I'm like, he goes, well, they're not going for the peanut butter. I'm like, no, we need to put kratom on top of that peanut butter, and I bet we'll catch him because that's what he's looking for. I had to put it in the fridge, my kratom. Otherwise, the mice, I was afraid he'd find it and chew on it. It's weird. So that's why I was trying to put it through the pits instead of the eating of it, because I'm trying to keep it so people don't have that bad of withdrawal through that way. You know what I mean? Because that seems the way when they're ingesting it or smoking it is when it's most addictive, it seems like. So I'm just hoping to, I just want to help people be better. And it's an epidemic, people being on that. And the more we can help, the better. Because the less crime and stuff will go down, the better if that's not around. Because that's what most of the time people are stealing for, is for that stuff. It's not for like food and stuff. It's for, you know, it's one thing if they're stealing for food and they need food, but it's one thing if it's, I don't know. I just never understood that fucking crowd either. It was weird. I had to find a few crowds while I was out there. I like people who go right and do the right thing. And like, I never thought this was bad. Like, weed was never bad to me. It was other stuff. But I've seen people use it for the wrong reasons, like, too. But most people have been pretty mellow and stuff. And it's been much better now and easier to find it. And you don't have to worry about, like, you didn't know who you were getting weed from back in the early 90s. You know what I mean? You were lucky if it depended on who you knew and blah, 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 you know? It was just different back then. I don't know. It seems more easier now, and I'm glad it's getting legal. It needs to be federally legal. I don't understand why they haven't done that. Oh, because they'll lose out money on that. But then they'd be able to, and they should use it for fixing the roads. We should have perfect roads right now.
The
There's
states
no
where
reason for
they
bad
are
roads.
necessarily taking cannabis money for tax, they are their roads are pretty nice from what I've understood. Not that I've been there, but from what I've understood.
Right. They have all this money, and why aren't they putting it back in our state? They made 10 times the extra amount, like for 4 times their salaries. Where's the extra money going? That's, you know, if we do pay attention, how about that go towards education? I like how in Orange County they'll trade weed to pay the teacher. It's weird. That's how they get some of their teachers there to teach the kids in some of their counties. I was watching on a documentary. It was pretty cool. I never did get to go to Orange County. I didn't want to mess with it because if you go in the wrong area, you're in trouble, you know. But I did get to see the outside of Orange County. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Is that where all that stuff goes at? But it was weird because I don't know. There's just no space out there, and all they do is fight over areas. It's weird. I've seen like I don't. We don't own the space anyways. The government is the one who ultimately owns it. And if people understood that, they still fight over the area. I'm like, why are you fighting over an area? I just never understood the gang scene. I was like, this don't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't. It never did. And even when you don't think there's a gang there. They don't always dress up like gangsters. And the hookers don't dress up like hookers. But if you go to Tijuana, they do dress up like hookers on TV. Like with the fishnet stockings and stuff. It's a little different over there.
You paint California to kind of sound like SoCal's version of California.
I did. There's lovely parts of it, but I didn't see a lot of the lovely parts. Like, don't go to the left over the bridge. I can tell you where not to go. So that I'm good at. But it is beautiful. The ocean's beautiful. It is. And some of the people are awesome. And the weed thing, those people seem a lot different than the people. Like, Sharon seemed different than the people I was around. You know what I'm saying?
Do you ever see yourself chasing your cannabis dream?
Huh?
Do you ever see
Wait, what'd you
yourself
say?
chasing cannabis?
I love cannabis.
No,
Why
I
would
mean
I?
like moving towards like say geographically chasing cannabis, I guess. Maybe moving
Oh,
to another state or country to pursue it.
maybe. Depends on how strict their driving rules are, because I I didn't even know what kilometers were when I went to Canada, so I was going like 20 miles, probably 30 miles over the speed limit everywhere it was, because I was trying to estimate. And I'm like, are you serious? They wanted people to drive that slow? I don't understand how anyone gets anywhere driving that slow. I could see Turtle wins a race, but that's a little ridiculous. I wish they wouldn't have. I don't like the roundabouts. They need to send those back. They can go away. I don't like them. When you're driving, and then I I don't like them at all. Not very cool. And I can't believe they stopped smoking inside. I was so disappointed when they quit it here too. I was like, why? Why are you listening to California? I'm like, no, not on the cigarettes. So if you don't smoke cigarettes, do you? I don't think you smoke. No. So you don't have to worry about that. But that was one good thing about TJ. You could still smoke inside the bars over there. So that was sort of cool. It sort of made me feel like home. And then when I got home, they quit smoking in here too. So I was like, it was just weird. I didn't think it would ever happen. I remember driving down a dirt road with my mom with the windows up and chain smoking. So I pretty much, I guess, was taxified my whole entire life. So I don't know which is worse, the dirt going up your nose or the cigarette smoke. So one of my kids didn't smoke, so I was happy. He did good. He didn't smoke cigarette, but he still smokes a vape pen. I'm like, why are you smoking the stupid vape pen? You don't need that nicotine buzz. That is not nicotine. You're getting a buzz off of probably. It's probably the other chemicals they put in it. And how come they don't have to label their stuff? That don't make sense. Because if you have to label your stuff for everything else, that's going in your lungs. You should have to know what's in that. I guess this brought out a whole different side to me. I'm sort of like, I want to know what's in it now. It's too late. After the baby formula thing really disgusted me this year too.
Yes, for sure.
Even toothpaste. They tried taking us out with toothpaste. It's everything's to hurt our body. Like it seems like it's like once it goes to the industry, they lose the love. So I never want to go industrial. I want to keep it. You know what I mean? I think it's better for everyone to keep their product small, then they could continue to do it the right way, or at least our version of the right way, I guess. But then again, everyone has their own opinion of the right way too. So that's a hard one to get everyone to agree on. Even when you try doing it the right way, like I know people, I made laundry soap too, and then she put borax in it. I'm like, Sprina, look up borax. You know what I mean? I'm like, look up what borax does to the earth. And she's like, I'm like, but
It's natural from the earth, isn't it? A natural element from earth, borax.
right. And it doesn't, I don't think it's supposed does good for it. It does weight in your clothes, but it would I guess I turned into more of a hippie than I thought I would ever turn into. But I still shave my armpits, so and my legs. I never understood that part, but I'm getting there. Now when this attachment is going soon. I just haven't been ready to let that one go. I need to smoke more of that. I don't know.
Buddy, my dogs are going crazy behind me. That's why I keep looking over my shoulder. I got 3 dogs that are being mischievous. Right.
Oh, mine noise is Mitchell's. He wants me to throw his ball like 553 times. I'm like, no, get it out of my face. And then I'll grab a squeaker and like bring it in my face. I'm like, no, dude. I need to get one of those tennis ball launchers for when I get a backyard and just and then he'll bring it back and then I'll teach him how to load it and then they'll save my arm until he brings his ball phone to me and stuff. But I try to get him cool toys that he won't chew up in 5 minutes. He's sleeping right now, otherwise I'd show you. He's actually giving me a little bit of peace. I'm actually shocked. Usually by now he comes in and he's looking at me like, it's time for bed. Let's go to bed. Or I'll have to kick him off my side of the bed when I get in. I'm like, move. I feel like scoot him over. No, I saw him again. We got another one. We caught two. So I guess there was three and they're super fast. I guess the one was eating my last one I had. I have the last one I had in a bag. I hid it somewhere else and I didn't find it for a while. And it was up there on top of the thing and it fell off. It freaked out. I thought it did it to me because I would have freaked out if it would have fell on my shoulder, right next to my shoulder. I would have been like screaming, it would have been horrible. I would have been like worse than seeing this big, huge spider or something. So we caught that one, and then I saw another one, and they're so fast, they're like lightning. And they'll go flat to the ground and they'll like run. And so at first I thought I was smoking too much pot, right? I thought it was loosening things. No, it was a mouse. I wasn't sure it was a mouse until it started eating that. So it likes my pit balm. And obviously it's not lethal because it was still there. And my dogs ate some of my lotion. He's unscrewed the top one day and ate some of my lotion. He's okay. So, well, it's all natural product stuff. I wouldn't suggest eating it, but if you accidentally eat some of it, like I've accidentally put pit balm on, thinking it was my lip balm because they were in the same container, but I didn't read it fast enough. What the thing said, I saw balm, and I didn't look specifically, so now I look a little bit more carefully. Like I try and color code things, but I'm still learning on the labeling, so I'm getting there. I wish I could buy just green, a whole bunch of green like labels, like the paper, and then I could just do it all in green, all the adult ones, and then, it would make it so much easier. But so far they want to put a bunch of different colors in there and only like 3 of each, so I'm working on it.
So, yeah, I don't know if we've covered all the cannabis that we can cover, but is there anything else that we can we want to cover before we call this one good?
I think I'm good. I'm getting a little tired. I'm not.
Okay.
I gotta work tomorrow. That sort of like.
So this is the way things work around here. You've done your dues rather. That Zoom link that I sent you is always good now. Anytime that you see a Weed Nerd World in the title of the show, that is free reign for past guests, which you are now one of. So anytime that you want to jump in and say hello, hang out, you go ahead and keep that link handy. All you have to do is click it, just like you did this evening. Can you guys give me 5 minutes? Give me 5 minutes before you quit, start being bullheads. Jeez. You are not going to be part of the soundbite. Anyways, so that's part 2. So the link is good. You are always welcome. And part 2, what I need from you before you go, it's a silly little thing I call the soundbite. At some point, it will be a commercial for your episode. Basically, in a nutshell, this is kind of what I'm looking for in my version anyway. Hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 711. What you say before or after that, I give no shits. As long as you have that in there, and I am ready now.
Hi, this is Peace Rain, and I am on Talking Shit with Eagle. And you guys have a great night, and I'll see you again soon.
There you go. Thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciated giving us another night hanging out and yet another great story. So with that being said, you guys, if you want to come hang out in the Weed Nerd World here for a few minutes, Get your bongs ready, empty your bladders, and I'll see you in a few. Miss Peace Rain, thank you one last time for your time. If you're not going to come hang out, remember, random acts of kindness do save lives. And with that being said, we are out of here. Have a good night.